Right now, with what we're doing with the KISS Force, it's taken off tremendously. Our publication, we have over 800 members.
Right.
And Keith estimates that about 8,000 people read the newsletter.
Wow.
Between people who Xerox it for their pen pals, people who show it to their friends, people who write issues and we send them issues. And is there any way that, like with that tour book giveaway, those 10 tour books you guys signed?
I didn't know that.
Well, you signed 10 of them.
I did?
Yeah, it says Eric Carr.
I must have. You know what we do is usually whenever we're in the office, what they'll do is that they'll, if I come in, because we don't always come in that often, I don't come in very often at all.
Yeah.
They'll just hand you like a big bunch of tour books, and you'll sign maybe 60 or 70 of them, and then you just leave them there.
Yeah, well, they sent
in case things happen like that, for a giveaway or anything, they're already signed. They don't have to worry about it. So that's probably what happened.
Yeah, I was gonna say no. They sent 10 of them this way to us, and so far the membership kits they've been out, I guess, about a week. 770 is the last count on the postcards that I've gotten, and that counts what I got today.
Wow.
And I mean, that's only for 10 tour books.
That's great.
Yeah, it's fantastic. So hopefully, when we present that to Chris and we tell him, hopefully he'll, want to do some more stuff. I know somebody said, call Eric and ask him if I can have some drumsticks.
Okay.
Because people, if it's any way possible, we'd like to give those away. Because, in a concert, you throw out, maybe 5 or 6? And
I usually throw away about 5 or 6 pairs, so it's like 10 or 12 sticks.
Yeah, and that's not, and you figure you've got a couple thousand people out there, whereas Gene and Paul and Bruce, they're throwing out boxfuls of guitar picks, and it's like the drumsticks, everybody always gets the bad end of the deal, and when they finally get it, Christ, everybody kills each other.
I don't want them to do that. Yeah. I remember this girl, I threw a stick. She was sitting on somebody's shoulder. She was like about 6 rows back in the middle. And I tried to get it right to her, and it was a broken stick. It had broken right in half, so it was pointy. And I threw it, and real nice and easy, so I wouldn't hurt her, because I have to be careful of that. But the kids reached up in front of her and hit it with their hand, and it flipped back and hit her right in the face, right between the eyes, and cut her face open. And she, I saw her after the show, and she had stitches and everything. I thought she was going to sue me, but she was happy. I mean, she didn't care,
Oh, it's a privilege to walk around and say, Eric Carr gave me that.
Stitches, yeah. What a man.
Yeah. What a guy,
What a guy.
Let me tell you, people appreciate it, when you write back to them.
Yeah.
And, everything. It's just I know people are going to be absolutely amazed when I tell them, Eric called me yesterday to let me know he was doing the interview today, and then he was a little late. And, you didn't have to be that considerate to call and say, hey, I'm going to be a little bit late. Right. Most people wouldn't have cared. They would have just been late.
I know.
And
I felt bad because I didn't go to bed until 7 o'clock this morning because I was out all night, and I'm still drunk.
Yeah, was she nice looking?
Uh-huh.
Was she nice looking?
Me?
No, the girl that you were with last night.
No, actually, I was with no girl. That's too bad. Because if I was, I wouldn't have called you at all. But I kind of I woke up, at 10 to 12. All of a sudden, something woke me up, and I said, holy shit, I forgot, here I am late. So I staggered to the phone, and that was the first, you were the first coherent thing that I've done today. It was that first call that I gave you. But sure, nobody likes to be told that they're going to be called, or make an appointment, and then the other person doesn't show up,
Yeah.
Or doesn't call, so I wouldn't, that's not right.
Yeah, well, that's good. Like I said, I think it's why a lot of people really like KISS, because these guys do show a genuine concern for everybody.
Yeah.
It's not, well, I'll call them tomorrow. It's, it's always the fans are first.
Yeah.
It's just asking for autographs. I know there was a big thing. I don't even know if you've read it, because I don't know. Do you read a lot of the rock magazines?
Not anymore. Not unless I'm in it. I won't read it.
Yeah, there's, Cream had a big thing where people were writing in and cutting these guys all down.
Really?
One guy said that, Gene, he went off about the wig on tour. Gene wore that for the fans. That's the way I view it is, Gene wore it because you don't get up on stage looking like a movie star. You get up on stage looking like a rock star.
Yeah.
And, he did that for the fans, and some guy said something about when he was backstage and went to take a picture of Gene threw a bag of cookies or something over his face, so the kid wouldn't take the picture.
Yeah.
And the kid really got off on that, and, I actually knew the kid that wrote the letter because the kid called me, he was telling me about it, and I said, what kind of nut are you to say something like that? Because, you always ask somebody's permission before you do something.
That's why. No, that's why Gene probably reacted that way. He doesn't, he doesn't necessarily. He really doesn't like to have his picture taken all the time. He really doesn't. He finds that like a personal. It's almost like reaching your hand in his pocket. It's like you don't do that. You're taking something away, okay?
Yeah.
And I understand the way he feels. I'm a little bit more open with that. It doesn't really mean that much to me. But Gene gets annoyed sometimes, and definitely, you don't like it when somebody tries to take your picture and they didn't ask you.
Yeah, well, it's like, there was a little comment about you, too, about that you call Queensryche fags or something.
Oh, I heard about that, and I felt so bad. About that. I have their number and everything. I had Roseanne from the office call their manager. She said that they had already seen the thing. They laughed at it. They didn't believe it. Okay? Because I love those guys.
Yeah, well, that's what I explained to the guy who wrote that, too. I says, you can't take everything that people say, literally.
Yeah.
I says, Eric's got a sense of humor.
Yeah.
And I says, for him to say, these guys are a bunch of faggots, they're going to fucking hate you.
Uh-huh.
I says, that's just his way of kidding around. I says, it's anybody's way of kidding around.
It's funny because I figured what probably happened, if anything at all, we have this like running kind of joke that we always do to anything, So I probably was talking to somebody backstage, if at all. I don't even think this happened, but it might have. And I said, oh, yeah, these guys are great, man. They're so good. I love the way they play. They're dynamite. I like to watch them. I love the songs, blah, blah, blah. Jeff's got a great voice, and I'm going like that. They're a bunch of faggots. And that's probably the way I said it, okay? Just like joking around, after this big build-up, I'll just say, yeah, they're faggots. And then I'll laugh, and then that'll be the end of it. But probably somebody took that the wrong way, okay, if I even said that, because I don't remember doing that.
Yeah.
But what I do remember is that, dozens of times, anytime I talked to any of the fans, anytime that I did radio or any kind of interviews, and they asked about the opening act, I always said how much I love those guys. Always, because I really did. They're really a nice bunch of guys. They're real friendly. They're not pretentious. And they're they're great musicians. Jeff's got a great voice. The backgrounds are great, and their musicianship is, is like excellent. It's excellent. I get off on just listening to how well they play together and how well they play separately. They're just, it's a fantastic band.
Yeah, that's great. That's what I said. See, people, when they hear things or they do things, some people just don't do it in the right way.
Yeah.
And I guess that happens. I know, I've gotten things from people, and they just didn't understand it. In the latest issue, they had about the Ace Frehley thing being arrested, and I got a letter from his mother, and she just didn't read the article for what it was. And it was like, and I called her, and I said, hey, that came directly from Ace's manager. And she was, really? And it's just, people really get their lines really crossed up. I don't know. Oh, did you get the birthday card I sent you?
I'm sure I did. I know I got some stuff from you, yeah. Thank you. I just don't remember now, man.
Okay.
I got a lot, and, like at this second, I can't really think of too much. Please forgive me.
That's okay. My birthday's in August, okay?
All right. What is this, a hint now?
Yeah, I can tell you, but I got a birthday card from Eric Carr, and a set of drumsticks, autographed Creatures of the Night album, the whole works,
When's your birthday?
The 10th.
The 10th? August 10th?
Yeah. Be 20 years old.
How much?
20.
Jesus.
Yeah, I'm getting old like you.
Well, not quite.
I just hope my hair don't fall out.
Yeah. It won't. Don't worry about it.
Yeah. So what other kind of stuff would you like us to see us print in the issues? We're improving. We're actually going to expand the issues to 12 pages.
Uh-huh.
And
I read that and I heard about that, yeah.
Yeah. So, what other kind of stuff would you like to see in here? I want to dedicate the extra space to, the band that is now. People want to read about, they want to read about Ace, they want to read about Vinny, they want to read about Mark and Peter, but...
I tell you, for me personally, I don't know how good it is, for the band, but I would tell you, if you're going to print stuff about me, anything that's being printed about me, okay, I would like maybe to see a little bit more background information on me. Mm-hmm. Only because of the fact that a lot of people, in other words, a lot of people are not really aware of the fact that I've been with the band for 5 years, and that I've played, on every album since The Elder, and that I've written songs, for the albums, that I've written a song, a co-written song with Bryan Adams, that kind of stuff. See, in other words, I haven't really done anything as far as writing is concerned or anything like that on this last album, so it's kind of like died down right now, even though we're getting all the publicity. But I've done a lot of stuff in the past. So for me, personally, it would be great if you could do, a thing about me, and then do a little bit more of the background stuff that's happened since I've been in the band. That would make me really happy, and it would help. It would definitely help the fans know a little bit more about me, because I don't know how much people know anymore. I really don't know.
Yeah. Well, that'll probably be, I know that was what I was thinking about asking you, is when I started the interview, it's like some background information about, your birthday, your birthplace, and all that other kind of good stuff, but I figured that's, July 12th, and you were born in Brooklyn, right?
Uh-huh.
Yeah. I guess I just assumed that most people knew, but I guess, we'll kind of start off the interview before I go into it, a little paragraph about it, then.
Yeah, I mean, it's not even so much of, the statistics, as far as like where I was born, blah, 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 that, joined the band in 1980.
Just what you've done with the band.
Yeah, that's what I think is missing. For me personally, I think that's what's missing, because I don't think people realize that, that I've been writing through this whole thing, that I've played on these albums, that, I've toured in the States with the band in makeup. A lot of people, I don't think, even know that I was in the era when there was still makeup. I mean, I was in the band with Ace for a while, so we did play. We did a tour of Europe and Australia, and then, we did that whole tour with Vinny in makeup, the first tour with Vinny in makeup. So I think maybe some of the fans might not even realize that I was around for the makeup. I think they just kind of relate to the new band and me as far as like Lick It Up, from Lick It Up on, without the makeup. And that's all, nothing really major, but that would make me happy, definitely.
Yeah, okay, well that sounds good.
You make it interesting.
Make you sound like a good guy. I wrote an article, it's going to appear in the new issue, and earlier when you said something about, you being so small behind that massive drum kit, somebody said, you're not really going to print that about Eric, because it was something about, actually like touching on each of you guys. And, I tried to touch a little bit on everybody, and one of the things I said about you is you were like the last person I hit. I know, always the last guy and the guy they forget about. But, it was, I just put like Eric Carr completes the Kiss lineup, and I put he's the little guy behind the massive drum kit or something like that. Nah, cut that out, huh?
Cut that out. I don't like it.
Well, then I put something about your drumming style. I just put something about it sounds like a combination of thunder and lightning, or how would you describe your drumming?
What I would do is say he's the little guy behind that massive drum kit that refuses to stay back there during the show. That's much more interesting.
Yeah.
All right. And then you maybe just like add another, add that extra little thing about the fact that during the shows I'm always out from behind. Eric Carr's the guy, behind that massive drum kit, but somebody should tell him that, he's got to stay behind them to play them instead of walking around the stage. Something like that. Because then it's funny. People that have seen us live will know what you mean, and it's kind of cool.
Okay, so how exactly would you describe your drumming style anyway? If you had to relate it to something, when Creatures came out, Crying had that big thing. It sounded like cannons and battleships.
Yeah, and I sounded like a Marine drum corps or something like that.
Oh, that was screwed up circus. What can
I didn't care. I really didn't care. It didn't matter to me. It worked for the album. It was perfect. And it was me playing. I was using my ideas combined. Gene and Paul helping me out, which we always do. Everybody, comes up with ideas for everybody else. Oh, as a matter of fact, I played bass. I don't know if you knew that. On I Still Love You.
Oh, that's neat. I didn't know that.
Yeah, well, see, that's like another one of those things that people don't know. I played bass on that.
Well, you play it.
I played drums. The drums for Legends Never Die on Wendy O. Williams' album. Okay, those drums were recorded originally for the Creatures of the Night album, but we never used the song. But when Gene was looking for material for Wendy, he came up with that song again, and he changed the title of the song to it used to be When the Legend Dies, and then he changed it to Legends Never Die. So we used those drums and the acoustic guitar were recorded in '82 in L.A.
Oh, I didn't know that. I figured you guys just all got together while Gene was producing it and just decided to do a little something.
No, those drums were recorded 3 years ago in L.A.
Oh, it's interesting to find out stuff like that. Did you co-write a song with that Ace is currently doing? I don't know if you've heard any of his material.
Yeah, that was funny. There's a fan, his name is Vinny Garcia. I don't know if you know him. We call him Fat Vinny, but because he used to be very, very, very heavy. And I first met him back behind the Palladium in New York while I was rehearsing for the first show when I joined the band. And, you know, he's been a fan for years. And he told me, I saw him, you know, a month or so ago, and he told me that he saw Ace perform, you know, at Lemoore East or Lemoore, whatever it was. And that's how I found out that Ace was using a song. It's called Breakout.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was a song, it was a riff, dun, 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 dun. You know, all the music, unless he's added something else to it, but all the music on that was something that I wrote back in '81, and that was going to be on The Elder. That was something that I wrote for The Elder. But, you know, Ace worked on it with me. We did demos of it and everything, and he was trying to put lyrics to it. We just couldn't. As a matter of fact, we recorded it. We did some recording in Toronto at Phase 1. Okay? And this was like, we did 5 tunes that were like preliminaries to The Elder. None of them, I don't remember, but none of them ever wound up on The Elder. They were just like 5 tunes that we never used. That was one of them that we did.
Yeah.
Okay, no vocal, just a music track.
Yeah, well, that tape did get out. It's been out.
Sorry?
I said that tape has made it to the public.
What, Ace's tape?
Yeah.
What is this? You mean a live tape or what?
No, the actual tape that you're talking about, that you recorded 5 songs, all instrumentals.
You're kidding.
It's actually, that's how, you know, I found out, because somebody sent me a tape of it. It's not a good quality tape.
No, and it's got a terrible drum solo part in it too, which I hate.
Yeah, that's like the very last track that's on there.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's A World Without Heroes, which is totally different than what's on the album.
Yes, that was the original of it, yeah.
Yeah, Don't Run, which is with lyrics, you know, which is Dark Light. And then it's The Breakout, and then it's 2 other songs, which the last one has the drum solo in it.
Interesting.
It's interesting, some of the stuff that made it out there. There's a tape floating around. I personally haven't heard it or seen it yet, but it's Lick It Up outtakes.
Really?
I think somebody said it had Shoot the President on it or something.
Shoot the President?
Yeah.
No. No, that's absolutely no. That's crazy.
I don't know. Somebody said it's out there. I've seen it on some list.
I'm sure it's out there, but forget about the title or anything like that. We never did anything like that.
Yeah. I don't know. That was a title that was floating around at the time. Maybe somebody just tagged it to a song.
Yeah.
But they said that I think they said something about You was actually on there, which turned out to be Exciter. You know.
What about it?
Yeah, he said that song was actually on there too. Or it was different.
Exciter was on there. I see.
Yeah.
That's possible.
Yeah. Well, he said that it's kind of like a rehearsal session. He says it's all the guys there, and he says you hear, you know, you guys stopping in the middle of songs and talking and stuff like that.
Yeah, then it's probably a rehearsal tape from SIR.
Yeah, I don't know. It's really weird how some of the things get out that are out there.
There is one thing. All right, you can mention that thing about Ace's song. You know that I wrote the music for that years ago. I have to, you know, you can mention about me playing bass on I Still Love You. You know, I mean, obviously, if it's not newsworthy enough, you know, just don't do it or save it for another time. But it's things like that, you know, I would like, you know, it'll make a more interesting article about me, and I'm sure it's things that people don't know. Mm-hmm. You know, because I didn't get credit for it on the album. It was just, you know, I just happened to have the best feel for the bass part. Gene tried it first and Paul tried it, and they just couldn't really lock in with the drums. You know, and I sat down and I just like did it right away because it was me playing with myself. And, you know, and it was great. I was very proud of that. I was, like, really happy, you know, that I got a chance to do that.
Yeah, well, I mean, whatever you want in the article, I mean, it's about you. I mean, it's for you, so, I mean...
There was something else I was going to ask you now. We were talking about kids and stuff like that. Oh, what you can't... I'm getting letters now saying, first of all, that people have a bootleg of the first band that I was in before Kiss.
Okay.
I don't remember who it was that sent that letter to me, but I sent them an answer yesterday. I mailed it all out. I want to get a cassette of it because I want to see what this band is supposed to be, okay?
Yeah.
Anyway,
you were in no other bands, or at least you didn't record with anybody prior to Kiss?
I did a little bit of recording, but it wasn't like real album stuff or anything like that. You know, I kind of, you know, got lucky little situations every now and then, which any musician will get sooner or later. They'll be in a studio somewhere, okay? But it was I never was like on an album, or I never recorded with a band that, you know, that was doing something that actually put anything out. Nothing like that at all. I'm basically just a drummer that played in bar bands for 19 years, you know, and just kind of like went from the gutter to the top of the mountain, you know.
Yeah, well, there's a tape floating around. It has 2 songs on it. Somebody gave me...
That was what I was getting to.
Yeah, somebody gave me the actual title of the band that did it. I honestly can't remember, but the two songs were Rock Me Slowly and Wet and Wild.
It's not me.
Yeah. Somebody...
That's what I wanted to ask you. I wanted you to write that down emphatically. No way. I have no idea what the songs are.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's not me. It can't be.
Yeah, somebody had said something about Barracuda, which I know you wrote a letter back to him and told him no. Matter of fact, that was an honor for me. The guy sent me a Xerox copy, the guy from Holland.
Uh-huh.
And we specifically said that you knew who I was, and
right.
You know, that was just a great honor for me.
Oh,
you know?
okay, great.
Well, that ended up in one of the letters hanging on my wall. Well, people come over and say, yes, I really do know him.
I definitely didn't do that. You know what I should do? I should release a bootleg of the band that I was in right before Kiss, because I have it. It's a good tape too.
Make some money, huh?
Yeah, make some money. No, I mean, I can kind of like just leak it out, you know, maybe I'd leak it out to you, you know.
You leak it out to anybody.
Make the money.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, the way things go out and around, it's really tough. That's what I told people. I've gotten some letters to some people who doubt some of the things that we print. Right. And I usually try to get a hold of Chris before I print anything, because it's like when Mark St. John was out of the band, you know, when that little... you know, changeover happened when Mark had to leave.
Uh-huh.
When I had called the management and asked about it, I believe it was Lauren on the phone, and she didn't even know anything about it.
Uh-huh.
And it's kind of hard when things like that happen, because, you know, you want to talk about it, and it's hard when you get the story straight.
Uh-huh.
I mean, I'll be honest with you, I talk to Mark all the time.
Right.
And after doing the interview with Bruce, I am just so glad that Bruce is the one in the band. I mean, a lot of people seem to think that Mark is like, you know, the big guitar extraordinaire, which, you know, he's a good guy. I mean, he plays some really good guitar, but I just think Bruce fits so much better with the guy.
Yeah, I agree.
You know, personality-wise and attitude and everything. It's just...
yeah. You know, that was, you know, to be honest with you, and, you know, that was a major consideration that we had. You know, we had problems with Mark even before he ever took the stage with us, and while we were doing Animalize, I mean, as soon as he had joined the band, we were already sensing that there was a problem, because of the fact that I think he was just overqualified, you know.
Yeah.
It's one of these people that, you know, they're so good that it's almost impossible for them to be in a situation where they're around people that are as good as them or that can stimulate them. So what happens is that they get a little arrogant, they get a little derogatory, you know, and which was what was happening, you know.
Well, I think he's passed a little.
Well, no, I'm saying at the time, you know, there was one incident that happened while we were doing Animalize. Gene offered Mark a chance to play bass on Exciter. That's what it was. And, you know, because just to make him feel good and because he was fast enough to do the part. Okay? And he was doing it, and I was sitting next to him in the control room, and Gene was right next to me. And he played like a passing note going into a verse coming out of a chorus. And then he stopped the tape, you know, to take a rest. And I said, you know, that there was a note in there that sounded wrong. And you know, he got really like defensive and arrogant right away. And I said, look, I understand, you know, I play guitar, I understand music. I said, the note itself may be the correct note that fits, you know, passing through the chord. I said, but to my ear, it sounds like a mistake. People may think it's a mistake. And quote unquote, he goes, how the fuck would you know? You don't play the drums. You don't know what the fuck you're talking about. Okay? And this is after being in the band for like 3 weeks, you know?
Yeah.
And Gene just like almost fell out of his chair, and he tried to be real nice and, you know, diplomatic about it. I walked out of the room because I was going to kill Mark, and I didn't want to touch him. And I went in the other room, and then Gene came in like 2 seconds later with his mouth and his eyes like bulging out of his head. We couldn't believe it, you know, but it was kind of like building up for a while. So we pulled him into the room, me, Gene, and Paul, and we let him have it. And he changed after that.
Yeah, well, I was going to say, I know I'm doing an interview with Mark next week for the issue. And, I mean, personally, I sat down and wrote him a letter and told him how I wanted him to act. Because I've talked to Mark, and he's mentioned so much, and it just, he tries to make everything sound like the worst possible. And, like I explained to him, people are writing to him and telling him that his guitar work is absolutely, you know, the most fabulous thing they've ever heard in their life.
It is great playing.
Yeah, and they're telling him just how good he is, and the first thing he says to me is, my best stuff ended up on the cutting room floor. And I said to him, I said, that's, you know, stupid of you to say something like that. I said, if people are writing to you and they're telling you how great you are, judging by something that you did on the album, and if you think you can do better, great. But if the fans think that you're this great for what you did, I says, then, I mean, that's fantastic. you should appreciate that.
I understand how he feels, because, you know, the same thing happens to me, and the same thing really happens to everybody. But, you know, sure, because there's a lot of stuff. Any album that has been out, except for actually this new one, because I'm real happy. Yeah, there's still a lot of stuff that I could have put in that I wanted to, that I had to, like, you know, get rid of because everybody thought things are too busy. You know, and sure, I wasn't happy about that, but whatever fits best with the song is what really counts. And, you know, even with that, I'm still, like, really happy with the stuff that I played. It's me. You know, there's really, really good parts. The playing is very, very good on this album. I really, really played, you know, very well. I'm happy with what I did on this album, okay? So I understand how Mark feels about that, but, you know, he shouldn't, you know...
Yeah, well, Mark...
kind of like typical of his attitude about the whole thing. He resented the fact that he was going to have to be part of a band instead of a star.
Yeah, well, Mark's working on his own thing now.
I know.
He, it looks like he wanted to release an album of his demo tape, the one that he sent you guys when he joined.
I don't remember.
Yeah, I don't know. I've never heard it. Keith told him that we could do that for him if he wanted to.
Right.
And Keith sent him a big contract. You know, he had our lawyer draw up a big thing for him. And, you know, Mark got a hold of it, and they've been sitting on it for a while, you know, while he's working on another album or something. And, yeah, he just seems to think everybody's going to buy that album when it comes out. And,
well,
you know,
it'll probably sell, you know, it'll probably do better because of the fact that he was with Kiss, and that's it. You know, whether it's going to be a huge thing or not, I don't know.
Yeah, well, that's one of the things I explained to him is, you know, you can't be cutting on a band that gave you your big break, that gave you a name.
Sure, and he's exploiting it at the same time, and Vinny is doing the same thing.
Well, Vinny's a little bit more, he's a lot more nicer about it. He doesn't cut you guys down.
No, but he still exploits, you know. But
Yeah.
I'll tell you, I mean, I liked Vinny. I did like Vinny a lot, you know. I can like him better now that he's not in the band than I did when he was in the band, because there were just too many things that weren't right, you know.
Yeah, well, he just signed a record contract, or he is signing a record contract, you know, within the next couple weeks.
Oh, no, I knew all about that, yeah. And the thing about Vinny, see, Vinny is much more talented overall than Mark is.
Yeah.
Vinny can sing. He's got a great voice. He's an excellent writer, and with the proper control of himself, you know, he can play some really, really great guitar licks. Okay, with our band, you know, he just was kind of like trying to outdo himself all the time, and he wound up being worse than what he really was. I was listening to Creatures, and you know, there's a lot of the stuff on that album is Vinny.
Yeah.
Okay, before he was in the band. And even though, you know, Gene and Paul and I helped him through his solos and kind of, you know, structured them with him, there's a lot of him on there, with the essence of his playing. And he was really, really good. I didn't realize how good he was. You know, I only remember Vinny from the horrible solos that he used to do live. That's how I remember him, you know. I had forgotten how good he was on the album. But he just needs, you know, he needs to control himself. I just think it was a bad situation. It was a good step for him, but he didn't know how to deal with it. And he thought that he was going to change everything to suit him.
Yeah, he's having a hard time right now. I've talked to some people that's actually wanted to try out for his band. And one guy called me, and the first thing he said was, I can't work with him.
Yeah.
He says he's got some good material. Vinny, of course, he had a band together, and it all fell apart. And, you know, I'm not sure exactly what the story was. He used to call Keith and I almost every day.
Yeah.
You know, we really talked to him a lot, and then all of a sudden he lost contact, and that's when everything started falling apart. But a lot of people have been calling, and they've been trying out for him.
Yeah.
And like I said, you know, they just said that he's really hard person to work with, and they said
I mean, we knew that about him before he was even in the band. We heard a lot of things from people that had worked with him. So it's not something new, you know.
Yeah.
Vinny will only be happy when he's in total control of everything, which is okay. There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
But even if you're in total control of things, there's a way to deal with people that you don't make them feel just like, you know, they're workers. You make them feel comfortable with you.
Yeah, well, I'll say that's one thing that Vinny does with the fans. He makes them feel comfortable.
Sure.
I know when I've talked to him, you know, he always makes anything that you ask, whether it's a touchy question, you know, he tries to make it sound good. You know, like I said, when he talks about Kiss, I mean, you know, whether he's lying or not, he still makes it sound good.
Sure.
You know, he makes these guys sound like you're still the greatest band in the world. And I think that's really good.
It is.
You know, it's just like, I heard a story yesterday. Somebody called me who was once dating Vinny. And the girl said, yeah, she says, right after you guys fired him or something, Ace Frehley called him and told him it was a good move.
Wow.
And I just said, well, that's...
I figured Ace would do that, you know?
Yeah, well, I said, well, that's Ace, you know. Well, I know when I met Ace, I was turned off. I met him when he was on tour this year, and I was telling him all about what we were doing, and I told him that we wanted to cover him because the fans want to read about him, and he says, I'm no longer in Kiss. And he took the business card and threw it across the room, and I asked for his autograph and I left, And his manager ever since then has been really nice to us,
George, right? George.
Yeah, George Stewart. Yeah. Oh, yeah, he's a really nice guy.
Yeah, he used to be the Kiss's tour manager.
Yeah. Oh, he's really nice. I know. I talk to him a lot, and he's setting up, and he's Vinny's manager as well right now.
Yeah.
And he's setting up an interview with Vinny for us and possibly Ace. He sold us the Frilly Comet shirts because we sold those. Goddamn, they sold right out, Yeah, well, Ace was, pretty hot there for a while, but now, of course, he's having some problems getting a contract.
Yeah, I feel really bad for him because he's, he's Ace, no matter what you want to say about him, he's Ace. It's like Jimmy Page. No matter how good or how bad he gets or whatever he does, he's still Jimmy Page,
Yeah.
And Ace is Ace, and you wish that he would pull himself together and do something.
Yeah, well, I think what it is, that big drug thing really hit bad with him.
Sure.
And that spoiled a lot of things for him.
Yeah.
So, I don't know, wish the guy luck too,
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to everybody coming out with albums. I think it'd be great,
I think so too.
But, of course, my main concern is Kiss, as always.
Yeah. That's it.
Well, listen, I better let you go. It's been quite some time. I certainly appreciate you calling.
Okay, it's fine, man. I hope you got some good stuff to print.
Yeah, well, I hope so too. You'll get the issue when it comes out. Okay. You should have your membership kits. Keith told me he mailed them yesterday.
Yeah, I think I have it.
Oh, you do?
I think so.
Okay, yeah.
Sure.
The actual color picture view, that was supposed to be a postcard. There's nothing on the back of it. Well, they told...
Right. No, I don't have it, but I got the letter that said it was coming.
Yeah. Yeah, the postcard is actually a view. I mean, I haven't even seen the kits myself either, but people ask about the postcard. And I told them, I said, it's a picture of Eric, and they said there's nothing on the back. And I asked Keith about it, and he said a minimum order was $50,000 for a color postcard. Well, I acted like a smartass, and I said, well, how much does that cost? And he told me to go to hell. Yeah, he's a fun guy to deal with. And I don't know if you know or not, but we have incorporated ourselves in Massachusetts. And yeah, well, we've got a lawyer up there. There's actually an office up there, too. Keith goes to the office every day, He has a good time with it. I think, what's keeping us going is, we're buying merchandise from, like, Winterland, your official merchandiser, and a lot of the other people who are selling your stuff. And that's really keeping us going because, man, we're selling tons of this stuff.
I know. It's weird because there was a store right across the street from Electric Lady where we were recording. They had about 300 tour books in there. And they sold them all within the last 2 weeks. Yeah,
these ones with Bruce are hot.
Yeah.
Keith sold out of those 3 times.
Wow.
He just placed the 4th order for those to reorder them.
Yeah,
he orders. Great. Yeah, he's been ordering 100 at a time.
Wow.
And well, I think what it is everybody, they're interested in the new band. They're interested in the people that are there to stay. And the way Bruce talks, and I think just the way he is, it's most obvious he's going to be there, until, everything's ending, which hopefully, will never happen.
Yeah, he's writing really well, and his musical ideas are great, and he's playing some really, really excellent stuff on this album, so, people are going to be really, really happy with him.
Yeah, I'm real happy with him now, just for seeing the guy on tour, I thought he was really good, and,
Anyway. Look, let me go, because I got to get out of here.
Okay.
Okay?
All right, then. Well, thanks a lot.
Okay, Dave.
All right, take care now.
All right, bye.